remembering those that perished on the sinking of the RMS Titanic on April 15, 1912. The information provided was obtained and used from findagrave.com. This video contains passengers with the last name starting with M. The remaining passengers will follow shortly. Mary and Lacey Mack, age 56, born in England. She was a second-class passenger and traveling to New York to live with her daughter. Her second husband had recently passed away. Mary's body was recovered by the Mackay Bennett and listed as number 52. She was buried at sea on April 22, 1912. The next victim is George William Mackay, age 20, born in Scotland. His occupation was listed as a butler. George was a third-class passenger and his body was never recovered. The next victim is Matti Alexandri Manpa, age 22, born in Finland. He was traveling to Canada and was accompanied by several other people. Matti's body was never recovered. His relatives received £50 in compensation, which equals about $7,248 in 1912. The next victim is John Edward Maguire, age 30, born in Massachusetts. He was a first-class passenger and held ticket number 110469. John's body was never recovered. He worked for the Dunbar Pattern Company. The next victim is Bridget Delia Mahone, age 20, born in Ireland. She perished in the sinking and her cenotaph is located in Ireland. The next victim is Simon Meisner, age 33, born in Ukraine. He was a third-class passenger and his body was never recovered. Simon's occupation was listed as a tailor. The next victim is Kali Edvard Mäkinen, age 29, born in Finland. His occupation was listed as a farmer. He was traveling to Pennsylvania and his body was never recovered. The next victim is Jean-Noël Malicard, age 25, born in France. He was a second-class passenger and his body was never recovered. The next victim is Albert Denis Pierre Mallet, age 45, born in France. He boarded the Titanic with his wife and 2-year-old son. They had tickets to board another ship, but switched to the Titanic. They were second-class passengers, were traveling to Canada, and was accompanied by a friend. Albert worked for a Canadian liquor importing firm. Albert's wife and son survived the sinking. Albert and his friend perished and his body was never identified. The next victim is Mary Mangan, age 32, born in Ireland. She resided in Illinois and was engaged to be married. Mary returned home to tell everyone the good news and to show off her diamond engagement ring. She boarded the Titanic with an ample trousseau of beautiful gifts. Mary's body was recovered by the Mackay Bennett and listed as number 61. She was buried at sea on April 22, 1912. Mary's cenotaph is located in Ireland. The next victim is Emilio Mangiavacchi, age 47, born in Italy. He was a second-class passenger and was traveling to New York. Emilio's body, if recovered, was never identified. The next victim is Sarkis Martirosyan, age 34, born in Syria. He was a third-class passenger and his body was never recovered. Sarkis owned an antique shop. The next victim is Dmitry Marinko, age 22, born in Hungary. He was a third-class passenger and his destination was unknown. Dmitry's body was never recovered. The next victim is Marin Markov, age 35, born in Bulgaria. He was a potter and traveled as a third-class passenger. He was accompanied by fellow inhabitants of his home village. Marin was traveling to Illinois. His body, if recovered, was never identified. Marin's cenotaph is located in Bulgaria. The next victim is Johan Markin, age 33, born in Croatia. He was married and boarded the Titanic with his brother-in-law. They were traveling to New York. Johann's body, if recovered, was never identified. The next victim is
Alfonso Mio Martino, age 48, born in Italy. He was a third-class passenger and his destination was unknown. Alfonso's body was recovered by the Mackay Bennett and listed as number 201. He was buried in Canada on May 10, 1912.
The next victim is Daniel Warner Marvin II, age 18, born in New York. He boarded the Titanic with his newly bride after celebrating their honeymoon in Europe. They were returning back to New York. Daniel perished in the sinking. His bride passed away in 1976. During her entire lifetime, she would never discuss the tragedy of the Titanic. Daniel's cenotaph is located in New York. The next victim is
Nikola Madanov, age 29, born in Bulgaria. He was a third-class passenger and was traveling to New York. Nikola's body was never recovered.
The next victim is
William John Matthews, age 22, born in England. His occupation was listed as a china clay laborer. William was traveling to Illinois to join his fiancée. His body, if recovered, was never identified.
The next victim is
Frank Hubert Mayberry, age 36, born in England. His occupation was listed as a real estate agent. He took his wife and 2 daughters to England for medical treatment. Settling them in, he boarded the Titanic and was accompanied by a friend. Frank's body, if recovered, was never identified. His third daughter was born in December following his death.
The next victim is
Thomas Francis McCaffrey, age 46, born in Canada. He was a manager of the Union Bank. Thomas boarded the Titanic and was accompanied by a friend. His friend was able to board the last lifeboat, but Thomas did not. His body was recovered by the Mackay Bennett and listed as number 292. His body was returned to Canada, where the bank paid for his headstone. Thomas was buried on May 2, 1912, in Canada.
The next victim is
Trevor McCaffrey, age 55, born in Scotland. His body was never recovered. There is no information available on this gentleman. I am leaving this lily for you, sir. You are not forgotten, may you rest easy.
The next victim is
Timothy John McCarthy, age 54, born in Massachusetts. He was a first-class passenger and his body was recovered by the Mackay Bennett and listed as number 175. Timothy was buried in Massachusetts.
The next victim is
Arthur Gordon McRae, age 32, born in Australia. He was traveling to Canada to visit friends and was a second-class passenger. He was buried in Canada. Arthur's tombstone, known as the Celtic's Cross, is the biggest one of the Titanic graves.
The next victim is
James Matthew Emcree, age 32, born in Canada. He worked on an oil rig in Arabia and rushed back home because one of his children was dying from tuberculosis. He was a second-class passenger and his body, if recovered, was never identified.
The next victim is
Michael McAvoy, age 19, born in Ireland. He met and fell in love with a woman who was 15 years older than him. She had already been divorced and Michael's parents did not approve of this. Michael's sister sent him the money for them to travel to Pennsylvania, where she resided. They boarded the Titanic and she survived the sinking, but Michael did not. Following the tragedy, the parents of Michael removed his name from their family history and shunned the sister for funding the trip.
The next victim is
Catherine McGowan, age 42, born in Ireland. Her entire family lived in Illinois except one niece. The niece informed her that she would be coming to Illinois to visit. Catherine, not ever planning on going back to Ireland, decided to make one last final trip. She told her niece, "I'll be there in 3 weeks and we will travel to Illinois together." Catherine, her niece, and several friends boarded the Titanic. All of them perished, except the niece. Catherine's body, if recovered, was never identified. Her cenotaph is located in Ireland.
The next victim is
Peter Daniel McCain, age 46, born in Guernsey. He was a second-class passenger and was traveling to New York. He boarded the Titanic and was accompanied by another gentleman. Peter's body, if recovered, was never identified. His cenotaph is located in New York.
The next victim is Martin McMahon, age 19, born in Ireland. He was reputed to be very popular and athletic. He perished in the sinking. The next victim is the McNamee family. Husband, Neil McNamee, age 27, born in Ireland. Wife, Eileen McNamee, age 19, born in England. Neil was a branch manager for the Lipton Tea Company. It was there where he met Eileen. They fell in love and soon married. They planned to start a fresh chapter in the United States. They boarded the Titanic and was third-class passengers traveling to New York. Eileen's body was recovered by the Mackay Bennett and listed as number 53. She was buried at sea on April 22, 1912. Neil's body was never recovered. Their cenotaph is located in Ireland. The next victim is Bridget McNeil, age 32, born in Ireland. She was traveling to New York to visit her cousin. Bridget's body was never recovered. The next victim is Marion Ogden Meanwell, age 62, born in England. Her occupation was listed as a milliner and dressmaker. She booked a ticket on the Majestic ship, but transferred due to the coal strike. Marion was a third-class passenger and was traveling to New York, to her daughter's home. Marion's body, if recovered, was never identified. Her estate was valued at £100, or $14,597. It was administered to a gentleman in England. Her ticket was recovered off the ocean floor in the year 2000. The next victim is John Meehan, age 22, born in Ireland. His occupation was listed as a general laborer. He was traveling to New Jersey or Illinois to his younger sister's home and was a third-class passenger. John was an expert swimmer, often winning swimming races. Legend has it that John survived the sinking by holding onto a piece of wreckage until he finally died of exhaustion hours later. John's body, if recovered, was never identified. His cenotaph is located in Ireland. The next victim is Annie Louise Rowley Meek, age 31, born in England. She was a third-class passenger and her body was never recovered. The next victim is August Meyer, age 31, born in Germany. He was single and his occupation was listed as a baker. August was a second-class passenger and his destination is unknown. His cenotaph is located in Germany. The next victim is Edgar Joseph Meyer, age 28, born in California. He was married and had a 1-year-old daughter. He had a degree in mechanical engineering and discovered a method to measure the velocity of flame propagation in gasoline engines. Edgar was the president of the Braden Copper Company in New York City. He boarded the Titanic with his wife and were first-class passengers. Edgar perished in the sinking. His ashes were placed in the Meyer Mausoleum on June 16, 1925 in New York. The next victim is Robert Murnack, age 28, born in Ireland. He was living in Illinois and traveled back home to visit his parents. Returning back to Illinois, he boarded the Titanic with his cousin. They both perished in the sinking. The next victim is Stoicho Mihov, age 27, born in Bulgaria. He was a potter and boarded the Titanic and was accompanied by fellow inhabitants of his home village. Stoicho was a third-class passenger and his body, if recovered, was never identified. His cenotaph is located in Bulgaria. The next victim is Frank Miles, age 22, born in England. He was a third-class passenger and was traveling to New York. Frank's body was never recovered. His cenotaph is located in England. The next victim is Francis Davis Millett, age 65, born in Massachusetts. He was an American author, working as a war correspondent, and was an artist, painting oil on canvas and murals. Francis served as a Union drummer boy to the Massachusetts Regiment and also served as a surgical assistant, as well as a reporter-editor to the Boston Courier. He eventually devoted himself to art. Returning from a trip to Europe, he was accompanied by a friend. Francis's body was recovered by the Mackay Bennett and listed as number 249. Francis was buried in Massachusetts and also has a cenotaph located near the White House. In 2019, his 1878 painting called Lu Pacificators a San Stefano sold at auction at Christie's for $60,000. The next victim is Jacob Christian Milling, age 48, born in Denmark. He was a machine inspector and was a second-class passenger on the Titanic. Jacob's body was recovered by the Mackay Bennett and listed as number 271. He was buried in Denmark. The next victim is Dr. William Edward Minahan, age 44, born in Wisconsin. He boarded the Titanic with his wife and sister, and they were listed as first-class passengers. William had his fortune read shortly before the voyage. The fortune teller predicted his death aboard the Titanic. His last words to his wife and sister were reported to be brave." William's body was recovered by the Mackay Bennett and listed as number 230. His hair was gray and he wore a black suit and overcoat. Effects were a pocketbook, papers, a gold watch with Dr. W. E. Minahan engraved. He had keys, knife, fountain pen, clinical thermometer, a memo book, tie pin, diamond ring, a gold cufflink, a nickel watch, comb, checkbook, an American Express, $380, and one collar button. Along with 16 pounds, 10 shillings in gold, 14 shillings, and a nail clipper on him. William was buried in Wisconsin on May 2, 1912. His estate was valued at $90,000. The next victim is Ivan Minif, age 23, born in Bulgaria. He was a third-class passenger and his body was never recovered. The next victim is Lazar Minkov, age 21, born in Bulgaria. He was a potter and was accompanied by fellow inhabitants of his home village. Lazar was a third-class passenger and was traveling to Iowa. His body, if recovered, was never identified. Lazar's cenotaph is located in Bulgaria. The next victim is Henry Michael Mitchell, age 70, born in England. He was a retired businessman and was traveling to Ohio. Due to the coal strike, he had to board the Titanic. Henry perished in the sinking. His cenotaph is located in Ireland. The next victim is Mito Mitkov, age 22, born in Bulgaria. His occupation was listed as a general laborer. He boarded the Titanic and was a third-class passenger. Mito was traveling to Illinois. He died in the sinking and his body was never recovered. The next victim is
Sigurd Hansen Mohn, age 25, born in Norway. He was traveling to Minnesota and was accompanied by his brother-in-law and several cousins. Sigurd was a third-class passenger and his body was recovered on May 9, 1912 by the SS Minia and listed as number 309. He was buried in Norway. The grave marker has been removed and now Sigurd is now unmarked.
The next victim is
Harry Markland Molson, age 55, born in Canada. He was a fourth-generation member of a family that made a fortune brewing beer, banking, and building steamships. In 1899, he swam away from the sinking of the Scotland, and in 1904, he swam to shore when the Canada collided with a collier. Harry was last seen on the Titanic removing his shoes and planning to swim to a ship whose lights he saw in the distance. His body was never recovered, and his cenotaph is located in Canada, where he was traveling to. Harry changed his will prior to departure, leaving his property along with $30,000 to Florence Nightingale Morris. She was his cousin's wife. His father died 10 months later.
The next victim is
Reverend Joseph Montvaila, age 27, born in Lithuania. He was a second-class passenger and some confusion on where he was traveling to, either New York or Massachusetts. His body, if recovered, was never identified. A plaque honoring him is located in Lithuania.
The next victim is Clarence Bloomfield Moore, age 47, born in West Virginia. He was a broker and his annual income was $25,000. He also owned a farm in Maryland. Clarence was in England, shopping for foxhounds. He purchased 50 pairs, and they did not accompany him on the Titanic. However, he was accompanied by his manservant, and they were first-class passengers. Clarence was playing cards in the smoking room with other compatriots when the Titanic hit the iceberg. They all perished in the sinking. The next victim is Leonard Charles Moore, age 19, born in England. His occupation was listed as a bricklayer. He was a third-class passenger and his body was never recovered. Leonard's cenotaph is located in England. The next victim is Daniel J. Moran, age 27, born in Ireland. He was a policeman in New York City. Daniel returned home to wrap up legal business after his father passed away. Returning home, he was accompanied by a friend and his sister. Daniel and his friend perished in the sinking, but his friend's sister survived. The next victim is Dr. Ernest Morawek, age 54, born in Iowa. He resided in Kentucky, but was traveling to New York. Ernest did not tell his superintendent anything about traveling to Europe. He left his worldly goods to his sister and brother. The next victim is Henry Samuel Morley, age 37, born in England. He was a senior partner in the firm L. Morley, Confectioners. He told his friends that he was traveling to Los Angeles, California, principally to recuperate after an illness, but in fact, he was eloping. They boarded the Titanic and were second-class passengers, and went under the names of Mr. and Mrs. Marshall. He perished in the sinking and left behind a wife and one child. Henry's cenotaph is located in England. The next victim is William Morley, age 34, born in England. He was a third-class passenger. William's occupation was listed as a carpenter. His body was never recovered. William's cenotaph is located in England. The next victim is Thomas Rowan Morrow, age 31, born in Ireland. He was a third-class passenger and was traveling to Canada. Thomas perished in the sinking. The next victim is Rahman Hayam Maudal, age 27, born in Turkey. He was a third-class passenger and his body was never recovered. The next victim is Sarkis Lahoud Ishaq Movad, age 29, born in Lebanon. He was a third-class passenger and was traveling to Connecticut. Sarkis perished in the sinking. The next victim is Thomas Cupper Mudd, age 16, born in England. He was a second-class passenger and his body, if recovered, was never identified. The next victim is Mary Mullen, age 18, born in Ireland. She met a gentleman at her family's business and fell in love. They ran away from home and booked a ticket on the Kimrick ship, listing their relationship as brother and sister. They intended to marry in New York. Due to the coal strike, they had to transfer to the Titanic. Mary's brother, realizing what had happened, he rushed to the Titanic, just in time to see them cast off. They both perished in the sinking. The next victim is Joseph Merdlin, age 21, born in Russia. He was a third-class passenger and his body was never recovered. Joseph's occupation was listed as a chemist. The next victim is Per Fabian Oliver Mako Merman, age 18, born in Sweden. His occupation was listed as a general laborer. Per was a third-class passenger and was traveling to Illinois. His body was never recovered. The next victim is Thomas Francis Miles, age 63, born in Ireland. He worked on the White Star sailing and lived in Massachusetts. Thomas went to Ireland due to a family death and was returning back home. Thomas perished in the sinking. If you like this content, please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing to my channel at MeTime806. Thank you very much.